Franchise Sports TV back again with another video. On today, a special edition. Top 5 players from every franchise, including the best player that ever played for that franchise. NBA Finals edition. First up, the Denver Nuggets, the number 1 seed this year. Well, in the West, I should say. They played a remarkable and impeccable playoffs, going 4-1 against the Minnesota Timberwolves, 4-2 against the Phoenix Suns, and sweeping the false king out his own building, which is not even his own building, in the LA Lakers. Now they will face the Miami Heat for all the gold and glory, and the first time winning the finals ever in their history. But anyways, as the series goes on, meaning this series is going on, I already covered the Los Angeles Lakers, the Milwaukee Bucks, and Phoenix Suns. Now it's Denver's turn. All right, so starting 5, best starting 5 Denver Nuggets, or the best 5 players the Denver Nuggets ever had. This is a tricky one because we have to go back all the way to the ABA days, even to the early 80s. Already at center, I'm picking Nikola Jokic, 2-time MVP, leading the team to his first championship appearance ever, and possibly could win it all. So, he deserves that top spot as a center, as the best player on that team, and he's really, really played remarkable this year. I had to get up to him. I was on his neck this year because the media was trying to get him the MVP by January, but he has done well. He has done well. So he gets to be the center. As for power forward, it's a tricky one. Shoot. The old heads might get mad. They might not get mad at me for picking at least the power forward position. But at the power forward position, I am picking Denver great and legend Alex English. It's only right. It's only right, right? See, for the young heads, I'm going to go by stats because that's the only thing they do. But Alex English, number 2, played with the team from 1980 to 1990. Inducted into the Hall of Fame in 97. Alex English, standing at 6'8". Like I said, he didn't play most of his career, but he played 10 years in Denver from 1980 to 1990. He's actually drafted by MOA team, the Milwaukee Bucks, in 1976. And round 2 is a 23rd pick overall. When the draft was a little bit different, straight out of South Carolina. Then he would play on the Indiana Pacers for about 2 years. He only played on the Bucks for 2 years. It's funny. His last year on the Bucks, he would play the. That's very funny. The Bucks would play the Suns in the first round, beating them out, and then they would lose to the Nuggets in a 7-game series in the semifinals. This is when the Bucks were actually in the West. Alex English played under Don Nelson. He was on that team with, he was behind Bobby Dandridge, Junior Bridgman, and Brian Winters. And he came off the bench with 13.4 points per game. And he was traded to, actually he didn't trade it, he was signed to the Indiana Pacers for 2 years before he went to Denver in a trade for George McGinnis. But during his time there, Alex English's time, I'm going to go through this real quickly, stats-wise. From 80 to 80 to 90, he averaged 21 points per game, 23, 25, 28, 26, 27, 29, 28, 25, 26, and 17 his last year in Denver in 89-90 season before he went to Dallas. Instead, averaged 9.7. His career average total 21.5. Most of his time in Denver, he was an all-star. Career total points 25,000, 21 points per 5. Again, 6 averaging 5 rebounds and 3 assists. Basketball Hall of Famer, College Basketball Hall of Fame as well. And his number is retired by the Denver Nuggets, number 2. And he was a scoring champion as well. 8-time All-Star. So he deserves to be on that list. I know this might be a controversial one, but I'm gonna have to just do it because he's synonymous with the name, especially during the 2000s. Is Carmelo Anthony. The people loved him out there. It's just weird that he never retired his number. I don't know what they're gonna do when Jokic is finally done. Look like I don't know how they're gonna do that. Maybe they not. Maybe they won't retire. I don't know how they're gonna do that. That's very weird to me. But Carmelo Anthony has to get the top spot. Now the shooting guard and point guard positions are very hard to pick from. I'm gonna have to pick David Thompson. Sorry, it just has to be. I'm sure others would probably pick Allen Iverson. But Allen Iverson didn't play there too long. Allen Iverson only played in Denver for 2 seasons, really, and it wasn't his best 2 seasons as well. I'm sure some other people will pick George McGinnis. He only played 2 seasons there as well. But I had to pick David Thompson. He played from 1975 to 1982 on that team. Only 2 years in that Alex English playing on that team. I'm sure some other people pick Dan Issel, or even Dikembe Mutombo, but I just had Jokic has done too much for that team so far. But yeah, going back to David Thompson. I keep trying to say David Robinson. I don't know why. I'm so used to saying his name. He's one of the 8 players to score 70 points or more in an NBA game as well. Did he play all these years in the Nuggets? I think he was on that ABA team. Yep, he did. He's part of the ABA as well. Played from, like I said, 1975 to 82 before he went on to go play with the Sonics for 2 more years. A full-time All-Star MVP with the Nuggets as well. 2-time first team with the ABA's one-time All-Star. One-time All-Star ABA MVP second team and Rookie of the Year as well. And is also inducted into the College Basketball Hall of Fame and Basketball Hall of Fame. Averaging 22 points per game for his whole career, 4 rebounds and 3 assists, combined with ABA and NBA. So he has to get on that list. And this one might be a weird one. I'm sure people, the old heads, would probably pick somebody else. Shoot. I forgot to add this in. You could say David Thompson was the first before any of these players that came along. Actually, Michael Jordan quoted as saying the whole meaning of vertical lift began with David Thompson, as his nickname was Skywalker. Bill Walton described him, Thompson, as the Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Tracy McGrady, and LeBron James wilderness to one. You can watch highlights of David Thompson. Yeah, that boy can jump. So, another dig at JJ Redick and these other idiots out here. The players from back in the day, they can jump too. Probably even higher than some of the players that are playing now. They was athletic as hell. Bill, David Thompson. Shoot, I was watching footage of Bob Cousy. That fool can move. But they was all plumbers. But anyways, but for the point guard position, lastly, for the point guard position, I had to pick. This is a hard one. I'm sure some people want to pick Fat Lever. But it's a hard one. Chauncey Billups. Simply because his time, he did have 2 stints with the Denver Nuggets. I think he was Chauncey Billups drafted to... Was he drafted to the Nuggets? Or was he drafted by Boston? I forgot. Yeah. Chauncey Billups was drafted by the Boston Celtics, played with the Raptors for a year. But he only played for the Denver for a year. And then he would go back to Denver after his time with the Detroit Pistons. He played with the Nuggets from 2008, 2011. I think he came in right after Iverson left. I always thought him and Iverson played together for some weird reason. But I know Chauncey Billups didn't do too much with the Denver. I know he did most of his damage in his career. with the Detroit Pistons, but he was an all-star with Denver. Uh, got a third team, so sportsmanship award and teammate award came later. But he's also a Denver native as well. He did go to um, George Washington High School in Denver, Colorado, and he even went to the University of Colorado for 2 years from 95 to 97, and was drafted in round one, third pick by the Boston Celtics. But that has to round out the best five. I'm sure other people have their opinions, but just to recount them again: Nikola Jokic, Alex English, Carmelo Anthony, David Thompson, and Chauncey Billups. As far as best player who ever played for this team, I'm sure some people would say Alex English. I'm sure some people would say probably David Thompson, Carmelo. But, and I know some people would say Jokic. If Jokic was to win this finals, I think he will take that spot as the best player that ever played for the Denver Nuggets because he gave them the first ring. And I'm sure, depending on how his career would end, I'm sure if I was to do this video a couple years later down the line, I'm sure that Jamal Murray would probably overtake Chauncey Billups eventually. But yeah, I have to say Nikola Jokic as of right now, especially if he wins this finals, he will probably be the best player in Denver Nuggets history. But we shall see in the next couple of days how that turns out. But like I said, you don't have to agree with me on any of this. It's all opinion as well. But